All right, hello, good evening, everybody. So today I've had a few guests that were talking to me in clinic about different kinds of things that they can do to eat healthy and eat on the run. And so tonight I'm breaking from my previous format and going to walk you guys around an area of kitchen that I use a lot to have meals and things, and introduce you to a few tools that can be helpful for eating quickly and healthfully on the run. So one of the things I've talked to you guys about before is a yogurt maker. This is just a standard old yogurt maker here, and as you can see, if you put a little bit of soy milk and a little bit of thyme, I'm trying to figure a good way of showing, all you need is just a little bit of thyme and just a little bit of soy milk and a little bit of a soy yogurt culture, and voila. I'm going to turn it on so you can see the finished product. You get instantly some soy yogurt, and just stir it up. After it comes out, initially it'll have a little bit of a crust on the top, and then a quick flick of the spoon, and voila, you have some beautiful and very healthy soy milk yogurt. The Silk brand seems to work very nicely for that, as both a starter and we just keep on using it for a continuation. So back to me here. All right. So next, I was talking with folks about how do you eat a rainbow of foods. And so tonight I've prepared a rainbow of foods. I'm still cooking on the stove here, actually. And so here, I'll turn it again around here. Here we have a artichoke and some squash. Squash is one of my favorite yellow vegetables to prepare, just because it is very quick, easy. You just throw it in some boiling water or steam it, or pretty much versatile, goes into anything. And for artistic effect, I've also included the artichoke. It was also, I guess, a little bit of laziness, because I didn't really feel like hunting down an extra thing to steam it, and so the artichoke will take a lot longer to steam than the squash. So what I'm going to do in a few minutes after we finish is separate the two, drain the squash to eat that, and then I'll let the artichoke steam in the hot water for a little while. Over here are some other fast things. Keeping a pot available to make boiling water quickly can be very helpful. Reading labels is always important. So over at the store the other day I found this roasted pepper and vegetable lentil soup. And a lot of the soups that are out there contain a lot of processed ingredients such as oils and such, whereas you can see this particular one, just water, tomato, onions, lentils, beans, celery, peppers, cornstarch, a little sugar, apple cider vinegar, garlic, chili powder, and spices. So as you can see, the lower something is down on the label, the smaller the amount of it is in the soup. As you can see, it has barely any fat or anything, and it's pretty good. Lentils are one of the highest in iron, which is why you can see on this label, iron was 15%. Now, learning how to read labels, if you're not in the habit of doing it, is extraordinarily important for just general health and wellness. That alone, for a lot of people, oftentimes leads to healthier food choices. Now, not surprisingly, the Publix was on sale for this one, and so I snatched up a few of these just to make a quick, easy lunch or dinner with. And again, the McDougall soup, you can see again, low in salt, low in sugar, and, well, I mean, it's got some salt, but this is the reduced version of it. So again, just finding things that are handy for you to have. The McDougall line is a fabulous one because it's sold in many Publix and other grocery stores around our area. So there's many varieties of quick soups. So if somebody's really in a rush, literally all you need is hot water and soup, and you just mix the two together, and boom, you got something really easy and quick. Vegetable stock is something that's very helpful to have around the kitchen for just general cooking with, because basically it will lend a new flavor to whatever it is that you're cooking with. You can make it at home, but it's nice to be able to make it quickly by just pouring it out. Obviously, it's something that does have an expiration date. So once you open it, only use it for whatever it says. In this case, only good for 7 days, and keep it refrigerated. Other things that can be helpful as well, if you ever check out the Daily Dozen, it talks about spices. So having a variety of spices on hand, very close to the stove, can make it a lot easier for cooking. And I'll flip back to say hi again. And over here, I'm going to talk a little bit about other things you can do to eat the rainbow, as it were. So other fast foods are things like these old-fashioned oats. Oatmeal is very helpful for usually pretty much any part of the body. The liver was one of the things I was in particular focusing on, because I was talking with somebody earlier that was talking about how they go to a fast food restaurant every morning on the way to work, and if you're looking for a fast, easy breakfast, you can't get much easier than taking something like the old-fashioned oats. You can put them in a jar to have them soak overnight with a little bit of soy milk or almond milk or whatever you happen to like, even just plain old water. You can add berries, you can add other things to it, pre-mixing cinnamon, chocolate, more specifically the healthy kind of chocolate, like our pure cocoa. I'm out of here. Not used to being camera woman and producer and show person all at the same time, so bear with me. But there's a lot of different things you do. Even this thing of oats right here, all you need is a measuring cup and a microwave that will let you do 50% speed, and within about 5 minutes or 4.5 minutes you get a nice bowl of oatmeal to enjoy. Very quick. Or if you want to do the overnight method, even faster, because first thing in the morning you don't have to actually do anything else to it. Alright, so switching back the view here. Here is an example of a rainbow salad, essentially. So what we've done here is I've taken a red pepper and chopped it up a little bit of cucumbers, a little bit of cabbage. This is just a red cabbage. Actually, it's one of the best antioxidant deals you have. In order to get the orange in, I've taken a little bit of an orange, and here we've got a little bit of arugula for the base. So literally, rainbow salad here is one example. Just take a little bit of the red cabbage, purple cabbage, the tomatoes, mix them on there, a little bit of orange, and voila. I guess the only way to make it more perfect than that would be to throw some blueberries in there, but don't happen to have any dried blueberries or anything along those lines at the moment. And you can always throw in there some things like tomatoes, just chop them up really easy. If you want to get your orange, there is beautiful peppers, orange bell peppers, red peppers, red tomatoes, obviously. There's a lot of ways to do it. Having things handy, such as little bits of mushrooms, knowing how to easily and quickly chop things is also an essential thing. I found that using one of the courses online was a very helpful way of helping with increasing my skills in the kitchen and comfort with using, let's say, this is just an easy, cheap chef's knife, but you don't really need anything too fancy for things like dinner. Also, having things handy, like this is some basil that I got from the store. This actually grows very nicely around here. I was happening to be quick with that here, so you can use, for example, some basil, a little bit of pepper, forgive my, there we go. So basically just shaking a little bit of pepper, freshly ground, onto there. I was over at Dr. Esselson's this last weekend, which was a lot of fun. Basically, he's got a Cleveland Clinic program where he invites all physicians to come learn how to reverse heart disease with him. And they were singing the praises of balsamic vinegar. There are about a bazillion different varieties of balsamic vinegar, flavored, unflavored, and basically it's a very nice way of very quickly dressing a salad. I also like to use pepper as well as a nice easy thing. So these were just, as I said, a couple of quick easy tips. Things like green tea can be made ahead of time if you like. If you want it really strong, that's on there. Having things such as sunflower seeds handy. For example, this is on the table here just to be able to very quickly take a pinch of that and, for example, sprinkle it onto the salad. Because if you're following the Dr. Esselstyn or Dr. Ornish style of heart disease reversal diet, it's not a no-fat diet, but having the fats in their original forms essentially as much as possible. For example, these sunflower seeds are extremely healthy, but if you take them and squeeze the life out of them, so to say, and you remove all of the other good nutritious stuff, all you're left with is like a bottle of pure fat. And so sunflower oil is highly processed and not very healthy at all, whereas a few of these sunflower seeds added to your greenery will basically help you to absorb all those beautiful pigments and carotenoids and other phytonutrients that are found in the salad as well. Sometimes having something along the lines of lemon juice can be helpful for some of the more bitter greens, such as kale. Sometimes people enjoy having that in various forms as well. And another easy thing around is to have things handy that are healthy. For example, I just raided the fridge and I found some silken tofu. One of my close friends actually has this beautiful recipe that we make chocolate pudding out of tofu. And it's very easy. You cut it open, you drain it, and you add a few heaping teaspoons of pure cocoa, 100% cacao, and just a little bit of maple syrup to it. And literally it's a 3-ingredient maple syrup cocoa pudding, but you wouldn't taste the maple syrup at all. It's just almost pure chocolate flavor. And that's one very, very healthy way of having a pudding. It takes about 5 minutes to prepare, 10 minutes maybe, from what I've seen watching it being made. Maybe I'll give you guys a demonstration of that later. Having vegetables handy is very good as well. Again, raiding the fridge. This is a Italian blend of vegetables. It's very easy to take a can of beans or throw it in a pot and mix in some Italian blend vegetables. Having something like liquid aminos nearby, you know, to make it a little bit of a earthy soy flavor could be good. Keeping berries handy as well. So for example, here's some frozen cranberries that can be mixed in with things, menstrual dates, for example, or sometimes things such as the cranberries can be fun to just kind of snack on, depending on your flavoring and so forth. So as you can see around the table, there's just a mixture of all sorts of different kinds of spices and things that can be added at a moment's notice. So fully believe that having health should be easy and fun, and keeping things handy that are conducive to that is one of the best things you can do for your health, because the easier you make it for yourself, the less you think about, oh, what am I going to have for breakfast? Oh, well, why don't I have oatmeal, you know, for example, can be very, very helpful. There's other things that can be handy to have around too. For example, this is a little bit of amla powder. My original thought was to talk a little bit about fatty liver disease because of the fact that the livers of Americans are getting increasingly fatty because, in great part, due to things such as the fast food, such as the sodas with that high fructose corn syrup are especially damaging to the liver. And so one of the ways that you can fight that is to pre-plan, premeditate your meals, in other words, so that it's not a surprise. Oh, what am I going to have? I think I'll drive through the McDonald's again, you know, that sort of thing. Because if you leave it up to the last minute, you're going to get hungry, your decision power is not going to be quite as fresh and strong, and it's a little bit easier to make choices that are not as healthy for the body. Let's see if there's anything else on the table to highlight. Yes, for those that have never tasted or tried something called nutritional yeast, it's a fun thing that gives a cheesy flavor to things such as potatoes and rice and whatever you feel like sprinkling it on. There's a couple of new video presentations from Dr. Greger recently on nutritionfacts.org with regards to nutritional yeast. Maybe not as good of a thing for folks with some of the inflammatory gut diseases like Crohn's. Please refer to that video presentation for more details on that. That's hot off the presses. And speaking of things that are hot off the presses, you might notice as I flip the camera around to this little bit of basmati rice that's soaking and simmering away in the bottom of this. One of the techniques for reducing the arsenic content of rice is to basically treat it like pasta. You bring your water to a boil, you put your rice in an abundance of water, and at the very end you strain it. And that way the arsenic gets soaked up in the water and hopefully down the drain and not in your tummy. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight for right now and go attend to the kitchen, as it were. So I hope this is helpful and just making it a little bit easier to get some ideas of things you can do personally to make cooking easy and fun and just something that will bring health to all of you. Oh yes, Joe, nutritional yeast is really fun. You can also find it on Amazon. And I think some of the places, such as Whole Foods, have it in bulk and such. And there's different flavors of it that are out there too. Some are more lighter, and some are a little bit heavier on the cheese flavor. Also, the Dr. Esselstyn did mention that his son's line of food, the Engine 2 diet that's out there, is very similar to what he prescribes. It's just a little bit looser because it's geared towards the younger, healthier crowd and less towards the crowd that is actively engaging in trying to reverse a heart disease. So, alrighty, so that's it for now. I hope you have a good night. I hope you enjoyed this quick doc talk and stay healthy. Okay, bye-bye.